This was Ayn Rand's answer to a question after a speech on another subject. What is your opinion of Alexander Solzhenitsyn?
Lower than Kissinger, lower than the rulers of Russia, stands Mr. Solzhenitsyn. He is the worst public caricature of a monster that has emerged in this age, which has an awful lot of public caricature and of unappetizing characters. Let me tell you why. If a communist or a fascist or any plain power luster tells you that he wants to enslave you, he says so. He doesn't posture as a liberator. Solzhenitsyn, before you speak of him or ask anything about him, please read the letter which he sent to the Soviet authorities shortly before he was deported. And they were right to get rid of him. It's the world's loss to be settled with that sort of thing. Read that letter. It has been published. It has been translated. I read it in the original Russian. In it, that man claims, in effect, that he is a communist. He says so openly, only not in those words. He is against Marxism. He would like Russia to remain a dictatorship, but a dictatorship run by the Russian Orthodox Church, so that Russian religion, the Greek Orthodox religion, would substitute for Marxism. In other words, he wants to take Russia back to the stage before Peter the Great, which is to the 17th or earlier, the 16th century. That is how far back he wants to go. He is anti-industrial. He wants to take Russia back to being an agrarian country, and Russia, left on her own, was tilling the soil but with bare hands or horses. They didn't even get to the stage of tractors. They labored 24 hours a day and starved periodically. That's what Mr. Solzhenitsyn offers as an ideal. And that horrible, pretentious person is held as some kind of hero of liberation. He doesn't want to free the world. He's denouncing the West. He's denouncing Western civilization. He says in this letter of his, he wants the Russian government, the Communist Party, to keep all their economic power, the power of production and trade and distribution, over foreign relationships, over the army, and all he wants is for them to allow people to speak and write freely. Now remember, he's a writer. And in the conclusion of this unspeakable document, he says the following: I want nothing for myself. I am sure, in effect, I'm quoting from memory, that you, the rulers, have never seen and cannot imagine a man who is not asking something for himself. Well, here I am, please look at me. That, as a selfless person, well, that's as much as any religious, mystic, altruist would ever project. That's all that his disinterest means. Give me freedom to write, and all the rest of your activities and professions can be enslaved. I'm quite willing to put up with it. Look, I am very suspicious of anybody, and that goes for Mr. Bergman too, Ingmar Bergman, who rises to fame under a dictatorship or semi-dictatorship, because I know how it's done. You have to do an enormous lot of compromising, bootlicking, and have a clique of your own within the various cliques before you would be allowed to rise. Anyone who became famous in Soviet Russia as a writer deserves enormous suspicion. But after that, to come out here and posture as a prophet is really adding insult to injury. Sure, what he wrote about the concentration camps is true. Better people have said it before. We should believe them, and not a man who is philosophically the exact opposite of everything the West stands for or should stand for. He's a man against individualism and against reason. That's my opinion on Mr. Solzhenitsyn.